Hi, this is Gina Greenlee, your roving reporter for OnPoint. And here we are in the archives of the Grand Rapids Public Museum. And I'm with Andrea.
I'm the Collections Curator here at the Public Museum.
Excellent. So what is a Collections Curator?
I work to help preserve the museum's collections and care for the museum's collections, and also present it in various ways through our programs and exhibitions.
Okay, and you're particularly involved in some of the textile collections?
Right, yeah, so my area of expertise is clothing and textiles, and so we have a great collection here at our museum of both in those areas, including quilts. We've got some incredible quilts as well.
And I know that at least one of those quilts was done by the members of the West Michigan Quilting Guild, which is pretty cool.
Right on. We do have some great quilts that have connections with the West Michigan Quilters Guild. Some members have donated over the years, and the Guild has donated over the years.
And in your collection, do you try to find quilts with a Michigan connection or Grand Rapids connection?
Every artifact in our collection here at the museum pretty much has a West Michigan connection. So whether it's the donor or whether it was used or worn or made here, there's always some local story that goes behind the pieces.
Excellent. And in front of us, we have an amazing Baltimore album quilt that I know was done by several members of the West Michigan Quilters Guild. And is this one that's potentially going to become a collection?
Right on. This was offered by Dr. Sue Wakefield, who is a community member here, and she offered this to the museum to add to our quilt collection. As you can see, this Baltimore album, it's just absolutely stunning, and what's so incredible about it is actually it was made by members, as you mentioned, of the Guild, and also other members of our community here. And so it's the stories really behind the makers that really we try to focus in on with our quilts.
And I understand that this pattern is a reproduction of a quilt that is from the Daughters of the American Revolution. And so you have the tremendous historical significance of it with the West Michigan connection.
That is very true, and you know, historically significant pieces. That's really what we want to have here for our quilt collection, and also beautifully done. You know, these quilters were clearly really skilled at what they've done, so it makes for a really great example.
Fabulous. And where are we going next?
We're going to go explore the collections. There's so much to see here at the archives. It's just a really wonderful place, very eclectic collection that we're going to see, and with a long history. So the museum has been collecting since about 1854, and we are the second largest museum in Michigan. We've got about 250,000 artifacts, so there's a lot to see.
Wow, we have a treat ahead of us, so stay tuned. We'll go see our next spot. Here we go. Andrea, what is this?
So this is a kind of a cool artifact in our collection here at the museum. It is called the Toppler-Holtz electrostatic generator machine.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a complicated machine, but it still works. And it's from the turn of the century. It is a medical device.
A medical device. What does it do?
Do you want me to use you as a volunteer?
Sure.
Just joking.
Will it hurt? Will it hurt?
It might hurt. Okay. It is actually for treating baldness.
Ah. Yeah, well, it's, yeah,
you don't
okay.
need, you've got really great hair. You don't need it.
Okay.
You don't need
it. How does it work?
Well, why don't we show you how it works?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to have you, Gina, hold on to this light bulb, and not on the metal parts on the end. I'm going to have you hold right in the middle here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have you take your hand off there.
Okay.
You're going to scooch back a little bit, and we're going to stick this light bulb right in here towards the electricity. And now you can see this light bulb is just one of those regular fluorescent light bulbs. And this is a powerful piece of equipment making this work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this I do recognize. This is a piano. Is it old?
Right, this is a player piano. It's about around from the 1930s time period. Do you want me to play it for you guys?
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Right.
The museum has so many different things, from animals to quilts to replicas of furniture factories, but I saw this, and I think I've heard stories about this from people who grew up in Grand Rapids. Tell me about this train.
Sure. This is the Herpelsheimer's department store passenger train. It was ridden by children who grew up here in West Michigan, and it dates back to about 1949. That's when it first started, but up until very recently, it was also in the city center downtown as well. So kids my age even were in that thing.
So if you grew up in Grand Rapids, I bet you rode in this, and the museum is saving it for the other kids to see it at some point down the road.
Right, kind of fun.
So now we are here in the textile room of the archive. Andrea, what are we going to see here?
So we are in the biggest, best closet in West Michigan. We've got about 10,000 clothing and accessory pieces. And also in this room, you're going to see textiles and world cultural artifacts. One of our textiles that we really have a great collection of is our quilts. And so we'll be showcasing some of those as well for you today.
Do you know roughly how many quilts you have?
I think it's about 200 quilts. And we're continuing to build on that collection too, so.
Fabulous. And of course, I know that one of them came from us, which is very cool.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we've got some great West Michigan connections with our quilt collection. The makers, you know, and the people who have donated these always have that West Michigan connection.
Do you have any favorite pieces down here?
I do. We're really kind of standing in front of this. Is one of my new favorite quilts. I love getting out quilts that I haven't really seen much of and used for our programming, and this is one of those examples that I haven't really gotten a chance to use much. And this one here is a Victorian era crazy quilt from around the 1870s time period. You can just see the beautiful stitch work here, this feather stitching, all just painstakingly done by hand. And I really also like with these crazy quilts, you see they integrate some of these little silk ribbons that were souvenirs. And so this one here says Fremont on it. It has a little picture of a gentleman there, and you know, just some really gorgeous brocades and silk fabric, probably made by women who use these as scraps from their dresses or leftover pieces from dresses that they were making. The Grand Rapids Public Museum has about 200 quilts from all different time periods, dating back to probably as early as the mid-1800s. There are also an amazing collection of clothing here at the museum. We've got about 10,000 pieces of clothing and accessories dating back to the 1700s. And the areas of clothing that we have are everything from party dresses to military clothing, everyday dress and functional sportswear clothing. We have wedding dresses and baptismal gowns, lots of children's clothing and shoes and hats and pretty much anything you can imagine. All through the decades as well. You'll see 1960s is a big area we have, but also earlier pieces dating back to the 1700s. Artifacts from the Grand Rapids Public Museum are actually mostly all donated to the museum. That's what really makes this collection so eclectic, is that the community has really worked to identify what they feel is special and that they want to give to the museum to preserve. It makes for a really incredible collection with lots of variety, and we have lots of great local stories behind these pieces.
I got a preview of a little special project that Andrea is working on here at the archives.
Yeah, so we've got a really great project going on here relating to our clothing collection. We're actually working on digitizing, so photographing the collection, which is about 5,600 pieces that are going to be worked on during this project. And it's all thanks to an award that we received. The Institute for Library and Museum Services awarded us a grant just recently. And so for the next 2 years, we'll be working to completely photograph and also provide better preservation for the clothing collection. And it's all available on our website. So if anybody's interested in checking it out, you can go to grpmcollections.org. That's the museum's online database, and all of these pieces will be immediately available through the website.
That's fabulous. So as you're taking them, you're adding them to the website immediately.
Right, yeah, it's available immediately. There's great high-resolution photos, so you can explore the collections in greater depth.
Amazing. And aren't the quilts on there also?
There are lots of quilts in there too, so you can check those out. There's photos as well for the quilts.
Amazing. And, you know, one of the things that quilters love is the preservation of quilts. And Andrea is doing a fabulous job helping us save not only the clothing, but the quilts and the other textiles that you've been able to collect. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's a really, you know, clothing and textiles is such a fragile asset for the museum that it's really been on our priority list to make sure that these clothing collections and the textile collections are well preserved for the future. We've got some great exhibits and programs always going on here, and having collections that are in good condition and, you know, preserved for our community is really important to us.
A lot of people don't know that this is an amazing collection, to the point that people all over the world call Andrea to talk about her textiles.
It's true. We do get a lot of, I check our website hits, and we get a lot of hits from people around the world. Now that we've been creating a lot more digital content in our database, it's just making the collections really much more accessible for people.
That's fabulous. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us to tour the archives. This is fabulous.
Thanks for watching our video. If you liked that one, be sure you subscribe to our channel. We wouldn't want you to miss a single video. And leave a comment. We would really like to hear from you.